This will be for the Khan exercise, finding inverses of linear functions. So they want us to find the inverse of this function here. And this -1 right here, that is not an exponent. That just indicates that it is the inverse function of h of x. So here's the original h of x, and this -1 is representing the inverse of that function. So this h of x here is just saying that h is dependent upon x. Okay, you're plugging in a value for x and getting a value for y. Okay, so you could just replace the h of x with a y. So now that we established h of x is the same as y, there's only 2 steps in finding the inverse function. Okay, you want to exchange the x and the y, and then step 2 would be to solve for the new y. So let's do that. So in place of the y, I'm going to write an x, and that equals 3/2. In place of the x, I'm going to write a y minus 11. So we exchange the x and the y, and now we're just solving for the new y. Okay, in order to get rid of 3/2, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So that's 2/3. You do the same thing to both sides. Okay, on the right-hand side, 2 over 2 cancels, 3 over 3 cancels. We're left with y minus 11 equals 2/3 x. Solving for y, the opposite of minus 11 is plus 11. Okay, we just do the same thing to both sides. And 11 minus 11 cancels. So we have 2/3 x plus 11. And that equals y. Okay, final answer is just this part right here. 2/3 x plus 11. So in the box, I'm going to type 2/3 for 2/3. Hit the right arrow key, type x, and then plus 11. Okay, when you're in the denominator here, you have to hit the right arrow key to bring the cursor back up. But it's 2/3 x plus 11. You don't need to write y equals because this inverse h of x represents the new y. So that's your final answer. All right, so in place of g of x, I'm going to cross this out and just write a y. And my first step is to reverse the x and the y. So instead of y, I'm going to write x, and that equals -2/5. Instead of the x, I'm going to write y, and that's plus 3. Okay, solving for y, the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. I'm going to apply that to both sides. It cancels here. And I have x minus 3 equals -2/5 times y. All right, again, solving for y, we just multiply by the reciprocal. -2/5 is going to be times -5/2. Okay, you want to do the same thing on both sides, -5/2. On the right-hand side, -2 over -2 cancels, 5 over 5 cancels, and we have y equals. So this right here is the final answer, -5/2 times x minus 3. Click inside the box. -5/2 will give you -5/2. Hit the right arrow key and use your parentheses, x minus 3. Okay, no need to write y equals. They have that there already.